Greetings, humanity, and welcome one and all to Channel Other Doc. I am Jim, and I use he/him pronouns, and this is I'm just fixing things real quick on the fly here. There we go. This is our short campaign of Dune: Adventures in the Imperium, a game by Modiphius Entertainment that adapts the universe of Frank Herbert's Dune series. We unfortunately real life struck us for a bit, but so we're probably going to do a little bit of a shorter session this evening. But we're going to go ahead and go around and say hi to everybody tonight and find that we have with us this evening, find out who they are and who they're playing. Again, as part of the real life thing, unfortunately, Jen could not make it this evening. They have real life stuff going on. But much real life all over the place. But let us now escape real life into the much more interesting world of Dune. Let us go around and say hi to everyone. And we will start with Lynn. Hello.
Hey, I'm Lynn, Shive, and tonight I am playing Teleshadow Shive, also aid to the consort.
Excellent. And now we will head over to Janie. Hello.
Hi, I am going to put my light on now. I don't know where to. Janie Potts of 7575 on social media. I am playing. What is her actual name? Esther Rose. Yeah, I know who my character is totally.
No worries. I'm still figuring myself out actually at this point, so I totally understand. And then now we will head over to Nicky. Hello.
Hello there. I'm Nick Hive, and I am playing Silas Chin, the bodyguard to the heir of House Versai.
Yes. And I will be playing Nero Ionis Versai, the Spacing Guild liaison, who is totally not trying to run his operation like a mobster. And like we do with other games on this channel, we're going to be using the X card, the N card, and the O card. If we hit something that's crossing a line for one of us, any of us can type an X in the Zoom video chat or anywhere else. Hold up a card, make an X symbol, and we'll back up and do something else. If something happens that we're okay having in the game, but we don't want a graphic description of it, we can type an N in the Zoom chat, and we'll fade to black on it or put it behind a veil, so it'll be there, but we won't go into detail. Finally, if we're exploring a topic or an area of roleplay that's particularly intense for us, but we want to keep going anyway, we can put an O in the chat to let us know that we're okay and that we're all good to keep piling on the drama. Something else we can do is put an O with a question mark after it when we're moving into a difficult topic, or if we say or we do something and then think, maybe that might have been a little too much, then everyone else can respond to that, again with an X, an N, or an O to let us know if we're all still doing okay. We're also using the pause. If any of us needs to take some time, we can ask for a pause in the game while we discuss things, or just take a break for as long as anybody needs. As a reminder, just a few content warnings. This game may contain references to violence, betrayal, drug use, imperial oppression, body horror, colonialism, worms, hallucination, thirst, and starvation. You can see that list of content warnings in chat by typing !Dune CW. And that'll pop up. It's also going to show up regularly on rotation. And finally, please remember that we have an open door policy, which means any of us and any of you can feel free to step away from this at any time if we need to. It is just a game, and mental health is always more important. And now I shall hand things over to our GM, Brian. Hello.
Hey, everybody. I'm Brian. My pronouns are he, him, and I'm running this thing. We left last time with people starting to do a bunch of different things is what it boiled down to. And we have got a few other things that I know each of you is going to be working on. But first, I'm going to tell you some stuff that you find out through, each of you finds out through your various contacts, both on the planet and in other places. First off, Nero, you
Yes.
get word that the representative from House Moritani, the one of the sword fighting houses. They're known for their military might and proficiency with swords. He's the one that Lyris was having a conversation with at the at the last party that all of you attended. You learned that he has rather suddenly booked passage off-world. And originally, he was going to stay here for the, for the big party, for the big gala. That was kind of the reason he was here, supposedly. And normally, of course, you don't, like, by you, I mean people, don't easily find out when someone has asked the guild to take them somewhere. You are not most people in this particular case. And you've got contacts, and they have, just, let it slip that this guy has changed his plans and is leaving ASAP. Let's see. Both Silas and Lyris, you actually, Silas, I know how you were. You had other people kind of tailing those mentats. Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay, Lyris, how were you investigating those 4 mentats? What were you doing to get information about them?
I think I am just researching or going through my experience, see if I can any of them seem familiar.
Ah, nice. Okay, yeah, kind of.
See where they're from or who they're working for that way.
Well, first off, both of you find out through different means, but it comes to the same conclusion. Those 4 mentats are clearly working for the Salt Guild, and Lyris, you remember their activities at the party, and as a fellow mentat, you are convinced that whatever it was they were trying to determine, they did not receive enough information at that party to allow them to draw a conclusion. Whatever it was, just the data simply wasn't there. They were hoping to find the clues that they needed, and obviously haven't hit it yet.
Interesting.
Now, Silas, you have gotten word that they've split up into like 2 pairs at this point. But the people that you have following them have never seen any one of these mentats alone. It's always either all 4 of them or into the same 2 pairs. And
the pairs are always the same.
Pairs are always the same. Yeah. Yeah, they don't switch around. It's always like, if it's A through D, it's always A and B, and then C and D are together. And they, 2 of them, let's call them A and B, they, whatever it is that they were trying to do, they got, they commissioned a small Salt Guild vessel, like basically kind of like a speedboat, nothing, something that just goes fast and it's not designed to carry anything, and went way off into the far ocean, past the point that the people you had following them felt comfortable attempting to continue following them, because past a certain point, it's obvious that the only other boat out there is following you.
That makes sense.
So what they did was they did what you do in that situation. They turned around, but they noted the point at which they lost them and the direction they were going. And, you have a map of the planet. So they're like, these are the areas that they, could have been heading. Unfortunately, the vast majority of the space that they pointed out is just water. There's no like there were a couple of islands out there they may have been going to, but you've got the point at which they had to break off, which is actually pretty far. If nothing else, they that they went in a direction that people generally don't go. They went out into an area that even the Salt Guild doesn't really have operations.
And it's uninhabited, the area that they.
Yeah, even the islands that are out there on the maps that you have are not marked as having anything important on them. They're small and don't even have significant vegetation and definitely nothing of great use.
No, like old House Latan strongholds or.
That is an excellent question. Yeah, nothing like that. Or at least nothing that your people have been able to figure out. It's entirely possible that someone could, have a thing out there that they've managed to keep off the maps. But the maps that you have state that there is nothing out. Okay, the maps that you have state nothing is interesting out there, which means there's probably something very interesting out there.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. So.
Okay.
Now the other two have remained basically they've remained entirely on the Big Island, the one that has the academy and most of the inhabitants live here on the Big Island. So you've got those. They have been visiting. Interestingly, they attempted to visit House Moritani, but they couldn't get on the ship. The ship was on lockdown for some reason, and they looked like they were preparing to leave.
And just to double check, House Moritani is the house that has a rivalry, but not a to the death, right?
Oh, that's House Procyon. House Procyon is the one with the rivalry. House Moritani doesn't really have much of an official opinion of your house. Although personally, you know that the swordmaster of House Versai that trained you considers House Moritani to be a group of second-rate swordsmen. But other than that, the guy at the party may have been the first one that you were ever around. They don't get out much. They tend to keep to themselves. So they tried to talk to him, didn't work. And then here's an interesting thing. They ended up at that same dive bar that you were scoping out before, the one that had the Bene Gesserit in it. They did not meet with the Bene Gesserit. That would have been kind of cool, but no, that didn't happen. But they did meet with members of that same crime syndicate that you observed.
The crime syndicate that talked with the Bene Gesserit, but she did not join them. Is it the same guy? Or?
Different representative, but same crime syndicate.
Okay, and this crime syndicate is currently working for House Latan, or is it just one person previously that was on their payroll?
Yeah, you don't think it's the smuggler that we're talking about here basically has ties to sort of officially works for the crime syndicate, but has been doing jobs for House Latan. So there is that connection, but it's not but it's as far as you know right now, it's just that one smuggler. Although House Latan, they were on this planet for a while. They probably have other dealings with that crime syndicate.
Okay, and these two mentats are talking to representative of this crime syndicate that is connected with House Latan.
Right, and your guys didn't hear what they were saying, but money changed hands from the mentats to the crime guys.
Okay.
So they paid the crime syndicate for something,
but no object changed hands.
They did not. No, it was they had a conversation, and they were subtle about it, but your guys know what to look for.
Okay.
Anyone not paying a lot of attention to that conversation wouldn't have spotted it.
All right. Seems like there's a conspiracy happening somewhere. All right.
And let's see, Rose. you where do you spend most of your time? Oh, I know you were trying to get together with House Procyon, but and I think you put the feelers out for that. You haven't heard back yet about whether they've agreed to meet you. But as I recall, you would send a request to talk to them. Is that right?
Yes, to have them help me with properly planning a forgot what event I said.
Oh, right. Yeah, you were. Well, I mean, as I recall, it was like a reception, but you were also kind of. It was a reception as if leaning towards a truce. Is that right?
Yes, and I wanted
Okay.
to really plan it and not mess this one up.
Gotcha. You haven't heard back from them, but you did get word that your message has been received. You just haven't. They just haven't replied.
Okay.
So they aren't ignoring you. They are. But yeah, no one has been back in touch. So let's see. Where are you spending a lot of your time? Since you're kind of waiting for that, and also looking for other stuff.
Probably a lot of, well, some fake parties, some real parties.
You've still got a lot of those to attend. This is kind of it's kind
Okay.
of your job right now.
But if I'm not if I'm not actually going to parties, if I'm just pretending, then I'm just sneaking around being nosy.
Okay. So one of the times when you're preparing for one of the actual parties you're going to attend, you one of the attendants of the academy gives you a message, an actual written message, sealed in an envelope and everything. Hands it to you and leaves.
Well, obviously, I want to see what's in the message.
And there's nothing on the outside of the message to indicate who it's from, but none of your observations indicate that there's anything particularly dangerous about it. It doesn't appear to be like coated in poison or or anything like that. The attendant that handed it to you wasn't wearing gloves. She's still alive, but or at least last time you saw her. But once you open it, the only words that are in it are "I'm here, get everyone together," and it doesn't tell you who it's from, except on the back there's this little series of dots that's code that is specifically used for agents of the consort, and it's from her.
Okay, I'm going to show that to my bodyguard.
All right.
We should answer the call then. Wouldn't do to keep her waiting.
Yeah, let's go.
And by everyone, I will point out that two of the members of everyone are in fact Laris and Nero. So
Talus and Nero?
I meant Talus. Where'd I get Laris?
Laris is one of the NPCs.
That's it. Sorry about that.
Yeah.
Sorry about Talus. I'm making up names for your character now. You do not want Talus there. No.
No, we do want Talus there. We don't want Laris there.
Yes. Other way around. So yes, Laris and Nero. So definitely the four of you plus a few other people that are in the inner circle, and by which I mean, as we discussed during session 0, we've got even members of the house, close actual agents of the house, that think that all the house does is run an arts academy. And then there are the people that know what your other business is. And those are the people that are going to be at this meeting.
Okay.
So they don't want to go to another tea party, is what you're saying.
Right. Yes, this will be, this means, show up in, actually, no, it's not even going to be like the main hall. It's going to be one of the secondary, ballrooms or something like that. That's kind of off to the side. Still a large room by any standards. It's just not as big as what are called the big rooms in this house. Because keep in mind, this is where House Latan used to live. So you, yeah. Now this is a question that we have not answered. I'm certain that you have some sort of clandestine way of getting the information to the right people. What would that be? And like anyone can speak up. How do you think each of you gets the word that this meeting that only certain people are even supposed to know is happening?
Pigeons.
I mean, actually, that's not bad. There is a thing called I forgot what they call them now. I have to look it up. But there is actually a specific kind of animal that what you do is, and this is from the novels. You basically record a message, and then the animal shows up wherever you are. And birds are used for this pretty commonly. Wherever you are, the bird shows up and lands, and the normal noises that the bird makes to anyone else sound like just bird noises. But to your ears, because you've been trained for it and it's coded for you, it gives you a message that you can decode.
Ooh.
So actually, that's not far off. It may well be just that.
Oh, nice. I threw that out on a whim, but
Yeah,
it works.
As it turns out, you nailed that part of the setting. So I like that. Each of you gets basically a bird that shows up and tells you exactly what you need to do and when you need to do it, which is show up here.
All right. And are there any other precedents of the consort summoning everyone together like this before?
No. But this is the first time that your house has had any dealings that were not on one of the two worlds that you normally work on.
Okay. So basically, we don't know what to expect. Okay, really. I bring all my weapons then.
Not a bad plan. Okay, I like that.
And also put the thorns on standby in case.
Also not a bad idea. Let's see, and how about Nero? What do you do upon receiving this message?
Okay. I'm gonna presume that actually it's my wife Evangeline gets the message, and
okay,
and then I get a message from her asking me to pick something up for her.
And that tells you what you need to know. Okay.
Exactly. Yes.
Fair. Okay.
So is she supposed to also accompany us to this meeting, or is this supposed to be just me?
He's in the know, so she could. If that's your call. And it's not gonna look bad on you either way. It's literally your decision.
Okay. Yeah, I mean that's the thing being is that we sort of do what we do as a partnership. So she can.
Yeah. So
I think it'd be appropriate for her to be there.
It's not going to look weird if she's there.
Yeah.
So not a problem. Yes. And that leaves us with Talus. What do you do upon finding out that you need to show up for the super secret meeting?
Oh, it's required of me to get there early.
Yes, it is.
So it's drop everything.
Okay.
Directly there.
I got you. So you're I get the idea. Like Talus is maybe trying to do something else, and then just takes a 45-degree angle and heads immediately towards wherever it is. Gotcha. And so we'll start with Talus because you are the first there. And right now you are in fact the only person in the room. You are so the room, it's a fairly typical ballroom. During you were involved in helping secure this place upon your arrival, so there's not a room in this palace you haven't been in. So you already you'd already scoped it out. You already know what the entrances and exits are, etc. However, you can tell that there is something different about it since the last time you were here. The light fixtures, to almost anyone else's eye, would look identical to what was here the first time you looked, but they are not. They've been replaced, and not just altered, but full on replaced with nearly exact replicas.
Mhm.
But and this is a ballroom. There's a lot of light fixtures, so something's going on up there.
Mhm. I do have a talent that allows me passive scrutiny. So
Yes.
enter a scene. You may ask one question, as if I spent momentum to obtain information.
Okay. So what is your question?
My question is to my best. What would be the reason for this?
Given the nature of the message that you got, you're certain this came directly from the consort.
Mhm.
And if she is here, first off, she wasn't supposed to be here for another several days. She was supposed to arrive with everyone else. So, your best guess is that she is here to accomplish something that she couldn't do if everyone knew she was already here.
Ah. So that's that makes sense. With that in mind, I think Talos is gonna are there are chairs, right?
Oh yeah. Yeah, chairs and yeah, I should let you know how it's set up. They're actually it's a long table. It's
Mhm.
a long table that has been set up for a dinner party.
Mhm.
And it is normally this is a ballroom, but it is in fact one long table. And it looks like about no, actually, you're a mentat. I'm sorry. Exactly. 21 chairs are at the table. And they no food has yet been placed on it, but the place settings and everything else are laid out.
So Talos, upon seeing the light fixtures and gleaming what she can about it, she knows exactly where the consort sits and where she sits,
True.
one seat over. And so she'll go to the seat, sit quietly, close her eyes, and just prep her mind for what is probably going to end up being some pretty in-depth information retrieval.
Fair point. Gotcha. Let's see. The next person to arrive, actually, they arrive together. It's the Master of Assassins and the Sword Master. The Sword Master is the one that trained Silas, and Silas is directly in the Sword Master's chain of command. The Master of Assassins is a mentat, and he is a mentat that is of higher station than you are in the house, but he's not your boss. The consort is. So it could be argued that the two of you are on the same level for certain matters. But it could also be argued that technically he works for the High Chancellor, and you work for the Consort. So there's some kind of, it depends on the situation whether which of you kind of has
Talus would like to cultivate a general feeling of being slightly below.
okay.
So there'll be some deference, like
And
acknowledging and just like slight bow when they come in.
what is your relationship like with the Master of Assassins?
I mean, it is purely business.
Gotcha. So just you, and that's mutual. So you're just you're both mentats. You're here to do a job.
We have a our spheres of organization are related but different, and we each respect each other's.
That makes sense. And the times that you have needed to trade information, I feel like it's been this is interesting, actually. There have been times that you've definitely needed to share information. And I would say for the most part, it's been a free exchange of information between the two of you, because both of you were working for the house and trying to make sure that the house does what it needs to. But there have been times when each of you has had to keep something from the other one, but you're both mentats, so you already know this. Like, each of you is like, okay, I see a hole in what you're doing, and I'm going to acknowledge that, and we're going to move on.
Yes,
It's like,
it would not reflect well on I or the Master of Assassins to miss things. So
yeah. I like that, actually. I like that a lot. Okay. And the Swordmaster, similarly, hang on. I need to open up the other thing. So the Swordmaster, similarly, you haven't had a whole lot of dealings with him, but your general feeling about him, because you've worked with him for years, or is that he is in fact, well, first off, your general feelings that he is unflinchingly loyal to the house. But you get the sense that if it came down to it, and he had to make a choice between the High Chancellor and the Consort, he'd probably fall on the side of the High Chancellor. You haven't seen any reason for anyone to make such a choice at this point, by the way. Right now, the High Chancellor and the Consort do seem to be working in lockstep. But, it's just it's a what if.
So they both come in at the same time, correct?
Yeah, Swordmaster and Master of Assassins arrive together, like having a conversation. And Master of Assassins nods to you.
Yes. I think as they if the swords master isn't paying attention, Talus is going to shift into the a more kind of nervous body language.
Interesting. Okay. Are you aiming that at one of them or both of them?
More for the swords master.
Gotcha. Yeah, trying to. Okay, that was what I thought. I got you.
This
All
is
right.
for, I think, most of the people that are going to be outside of the inner circle, of the inner circle.
Right.
Gets this language change.
Absolutely. Okay. Okay, hang on. I need to type something before I forget it, and then I'll be right back. Another thing that you know about, let me give you some names. Swordmaster is Arliss Montana.
Yeah.
And Master of Assassins is actually a cousin of Nero's wife's. His name is Gerald Ionos. He is a close enough cousin to have. Yes.
Ionos is my name.
Other way around. Sorry. In that case, he's a cousin of yours. That's
Oh,
right.
okay.
The wife is Versai. I went the wrong way.
Yeah.
And so yeah, he's a direct enough cousin. It's been patrilineal, which means he still has the last name, but you guys are fairly far apart as far as that goes.
What does he do again?
He is the Master of Assassins for House Versai.
Ah.
And an accomplished Mentat. He would be probably a third cousin. So particularly, actually, Nero, I don't get the sense that, I mean, you're obviously not really in the line of succession either, are you?
For House Ionos?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was trying to think about that, and yeah, I feel like it's a fairly big family. So like a lot of people would have to die for me to be the next in line.
Like generations, because I have a feeling that like plenty of people above you have had children, and then they've probably had children.
Yeah.
So it's gotten away from you. If you're right. Okay.
Yeah.
Gerald is in the same position, which is one of the reasons he went to work for House Versai, because he was not going to inherit any of the Ionos stuff. Speaking of Ionos, I think you and your wife might be the next ones to arrive.
All right.
So what do you do upon arriving?
So this, because again, this is always this is a situation where he doesn't know. It's internal, right? So there's he doesn't have to put on as much of a show that he does as he does in public, but at the same time, there's this little sort of he's still uncertain what's going on, so he's going to come in smiling,
Okay.
and with come in smiling with Vangeline, and just sort of they're going to be chatting about nothing in particular, just sort of reading stories about stuff that they found amusing recently, and he'll sort of smile. He'll nod to Talis, sort of stretch. He'll pull out a chair for Vange, and then he will he'll smile sharply at Gerald, just sort of my cousin, and he'll sort of because I assume actually they probably get along at least somewhat, because I'm assuming also that the Master of Assassins had some degree of training of Nero's daughter. So
that's a good point. Almost certainly.
So so he's
and he does. Yeah, he in fact, he seems quite fond of your daughter. Treats her like a niece. And honestly, one of his best students. he's quite pleased with her progress.
Yeah, we're all very proud of her. We're all very proud of Alexis, and some of us are slightly terrified, but that's maybe. That version of me was buried a long time ago, though. I don't have those feelings hardly ever anymore. So
only in the occasional nightmare.
Yeah, it's just occasionally. So I just kind of sort of sit down and as casually as you please, as though he's just as though he's at a light get together.
Yeah.
And we'll just kind of sit down and continue. He will continue talking, because that's what he does until he notes any changes in the atmosphere of the room to suggest that perhaps he should stop talking.
So Silas, I assume you're going to arrive with the heir. Am I right about that?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I guess next we need to find out, Rose, when do you plan on arriving? Do you want to show up kind of late, or what is your idea? You muted.
I did that on purpose.
Yes. It was. It gave the appropriate air of mystery.
I was gonna say more on time this time because it's
Okay.
short.
That makes sense. Okay. Well, in that case, yeah, you and Silas are the next to arrive. What do the two of you do upon entering the room?
Silas is in job mode, so he acknowledges the existence of everyone around him and sort of like gives a nod to Montana, the master, but he remains silent throughout the whole thing.
I think Rose is very official too. I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
She's like quieter than normal. She does greet everybody, but she's, I don't want to say good, but there's definitely not the same.
Right. Yeah. Understood. Okay. So Silas, Montana, your house has a lot of different codes that they use, but among the more military types, you have a spoken battle language, but you also have a series of hand signs that you use. And the hand sign that he flashes you is the one for basically it reads insufficient information, watch your back. Which is his way of saying, I don't know what the hell's going on here, do you?
I will say acknowledge likewise in hand sign.
Yeah. He just nods to that. And he says, actually, he looks to Talus and says, banquet seating then. All right. And he takes the place that he would be seated at if this were an official state dinner.
Well, I had limited amount of time, and this is the best we could do with this.
And if any of you has anything else to say or do, some others are filing in. But let's see, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There are eventually another, say, 10 people file in. None of them are senior staff like the Swordmaster and Master of Assassins. A couple of them are at roughly the level that some of you are, meaning kind of like the tier underneath the senior staff. You've got a couple of members of a couple of the most trusted members of the Master of Assassins crew, and similarly, 3 members of the Swordmasters handpicked guards are here. And again, unsurprising to all of you, every single person here is someone that knows what the house is really about. That's what's going on. But there is a little bit of time before anything else happens. If any of you want to say or do anything.
Has anybody through the standard seating of where they're supposed to sit?
Oh, that is a good question. A couple of people,
or where they sit normally.
Yeah, a couple of people did, and the Master of Assassins cleared his throat and looked pointedly at them, and they moved to the proper seats.
Interesting.
And there are also just a couple of courtiers here that are sort of more. They are agents of the house without any specific title or position. They just are kind of always around, and you get the sense. Well, let me rephrase that. They're always around when the consort is around, which means they must have arrived with her whenever she showed up. Oh, and Nero, this is an important bit of information. This is the first you've heard that the consort is on planet. And just like when you did hear that the Moritani guy left the planet, some of your agents, at least one of your agents that's out there watching for these things, should have informed you that she was here, because she had to come on a guild ship. There's no way that she got here without a guild ship.
Okay. That's noted.
And let's see. Talus, the two courtiers I mentioned, the ones that are just sort of, agents of the house. You and Rose actually would both notice this. They didn't have time to prepare themselves like they normally would for a function like this. They were rushed. Like, they're wearing the right clothes, but they aren't. It takes time to get yourself to look right for something like this,
Yes.
and they didn't have that time.
That means it's much more serious. If the staff around the concert wasn't alerted.
And all of you know that they go where she goes, so they would have also had to have arrived on that guild ship. They wouldn't have come here before she did.
Yeah.
Of course
That's not what they ever do.
Wasn't the note from the consort?
Yes.
Like, I would have recognized it as being from the consort.
You know that was from the consort, and the coat of dots on the back could not have been from anyone else but her.
Okay.
Remind me, is messaging a thing? Like in the.
Oh, in what? Yeah, I mean, yes, but in what manner?
Do we have means of? I've forgotten if in this setting there is such a thing as that would be analogous to text messaging or anything of that nature.
Yes, because radio waves do not require computers. So
we have personal.
Yeah, and encryption is extraordinarily good, and miniaturization is amazing. You can make things so absurdly small and still have them be powerful. Okay. So yes, messaging, especially at relatively short ranges, is incredibly powerful.
Well, yeah, I don't know how the range here, it might be a thing, but just want to do this without saying anything.
Yeah.
Basically, is that I just want to send a message to. I'm gonna just take liberties here and say that I have a staff. I'm going to send a message to my staff that's just basically, hold on to person X. Do not let them go off shift. I want to question them.
Aha, very good. Okay.
And that's it.
You receive the and by short range I mean like within a planet.
Oh yeah, okay.
So it's just another part of the city, not an issue there. Because the guild office is still within the big island.
Okay.
So not a problem, and you get an acknowledgement. Yes, received, and Roger that. Let's see. The Montana is, as usual, just the most obvious about like his thoughts are usually pretty obvious from his actions and his facial expressions. He's capable of subterfuge. He just doesn't bother with it most of the time. And so he's pointedly just looking around as if trying to piece together what's going on, why you've all been called here. And it's obvious, like the rest of you, he's put some of it together because it's obvious who's here. But beyond that, he's just looking around, and then he says, "These goblets are pretty, but awfully dry."
So the goblets are empty.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I think Talus will get up, and then go get the nearest servant here. Requests for them to give me the pictures, and I'll bring them in as fast as you can.
You end up having to go pretty far down the hall for this because normally there would be servants crawling all over the back halls of this room, but they are empty, which means they have been ordered to not get within a certain radius of this ballroom. So you do in fact find one, but you have to go like several rooms down, and but yeah, you're given a actually, yeah, if you're looking for enough wine for everybody, you're given like a small tray on wheels that has multiple carafes on it.
It's great. Yes.
Because this is happening, my character's going to see if there's any vents that she can get out easily.
You've got time to scope it out, and I will point out that you've been on this world for a while yourself. You've probably already crawled around a fair amount of this palace just to get an idea of what's where. And yeah, you've spotted a couple of good surreptitious exit routes if you have to take one, and like one or two others that are going to be obvious, but if you have to run, you've plotted those too. You're like, if I have to make a break for it, and I don't care if anyone sees me, I'm going for that door, that kind of thing.
Okay.
So you've scoped it out roughly about the time that the wine has arrived. And
one thing I want to do for the wine, it's customary before I bring these things, is make whatever servant I got this from take a nice swig before.
Yeah, just it's a nice treat for you. They
it's not for me, it's for them.
So that's what I mean.
Poison, yeah.
It is as if it is, like, here, have some for yourself.
Have some, yes.
Yeah. They survive.
Good.
And let's see. Once you're back in there, okay. The carafes that you're using are made of a bronze-colored metal, and each one has a sizable gem right at the top of the handle. And right now, each of those gems is blue, but if they turn black, you know that there's a problem.
Yeah. And I think,
go ahead.
Being the aide, I think it is. I am the primary kind of helper here, so it comes down to me to make sure everyone is comfortable and has a glass. So make a little bit of awkward serving to everybody.
Fair enough. Well, in that case, everyone that wants one has a glass of wine, which right now is everyone. Everyone does accept one. That everyone that is not any of you. I'm assuming you can tell me as you go if you do or do not want some wine.
Yeah, Silas declines.
Okay.
Oh, I'll take some wine. I don't know if necessarily I'm going to drink it, or I will probably appear to drink it at the very least. But
yeah.
I'm going. I'm
Silas
mostly
will sip Rose's one.
the thing is, in
first.
order to actually
Okay.
in order to actually take a drink, I would have to shut up, and that's probably not happening because I'm talking. I'm telling a story now about some vineyard owners that got robbed, as it turns out, by one of their own people, as a way to. But at the time he didn't realize it. He just he drunkenly wandered onto the wrong vineyard. And so I'm telling this amusing story to kind of make everyone a little bit more at ease. I'm trying to calm everyone down so that when we
It generally seems to be working, and your wife is assisting with comments such as nasty business that, and things along those lines.
Yeah. Just can't believe it was 3 hours before they caught him.
I think that my character is getting the wine, but she's just pretending to sip at it.
Okay.
Just in case she's got to get out of there. And I think she did a little sketch of the that whole story because it was amusing.
Oh, I like it. Okay. That's nice.
Silas checked out that story like 2 sentences in. Just glazed.
It's like, oh man, no one's fighting anyone. I don't care. Wine, blah blah blah. Okay. And when you get to the punchline of the story, as it were, the Master of Assassins laughs. I mean, there are chuckles around the table, but he and the Swordsmaster are the only two that seem to be laughing genuinely at it. They but for different reasons. You think that the Swordsmaster genuinely thought it was funny and it was an engaging story. The Master of Assassins, on the other hand, he seems to be laughing because he caught what you were doing and appreciated the craft involved. So, unless anyone has anything else to do, a small door at the end of the room, not the 2 large double doors that everyone's been arriving into, opens, and the consort enters by herself. As a reminder, her name is Vivica. She's of average height. She's one of those people of indeterminate age, but probably somewhere. The problem is that there are multiple ways to prolong one's lifespan in this setting, and so anyone could conceivably be older than they look. But by her appearance, anyone would guess mid-40s. She has very high cheekbones. If we were to describe her in current modern Earth terms, you might call her South Asian. So she has brown skin, jet black hair, very long, tied back currently in an intricate braid with simple but sparse red beads through it. Her dress is a dark red, but it's nothing particularly fancy. I mean, it costs more than some people's houses, but it's not like a ball gown. It's one of those simple looking dresses that someone paid a lot of money to make it look that simple and that good on them. She has an air of kind of the air that she always does, of sort of literally and figuratively owning any room she's in. She's just got that sort of charisma and aura about her. And some of you that know to look for things know that she's employing every now and then certain tricks to play that up. But it often also just still kind of works. So she she moves towards her seat, and the first person to stand up is the Master of Assassins, followed by the people at the rest of the table. And unless you tell me otherwise, I'm assuming the rest of you. Not going to tell you what you're doing, just guessing. And she stands with her hand on the back of her chair, which is at the head of the table. But the chair is the same size as the rest of her chairs. And she says, "Thank you for seeing me on such short notice. Be seated." And everyone is seated except for the two courtiers that they move back towards the first place that you looked, Talus, to find servants. They move back into that area. And she says, "Luncheon will be served momentarily. I as you may have noticed, have arrived. But I'd like to keep my presence here as quiet as it is possible for this number of people to do for as long as possible. Which means I will be confined to my quarters here for a number of days. But I have some things to do before the High Chancellor arrives, and I need your help. But first, I'd like to know, how have things been going?" And the first person she looks at is Rose.
They've been all right. There was one assassination attempt. I did get the sword out of character. I cannot remember what the name of the boat was.
It was House Moritani's ship. Yeah. So
I stole House Moritani's sword, and I'm trying to do everything that's on the list she gave me.
excellent. I've heard that Lord Moritani is not going to join us.
Yes, Melody, that's correct. I just heard confirmation that he'd booked off planet rather quickly.
Oh, that's too bad. He's such a scintillating conversationalist. Well, she actually at this point she looks to Talus. Can we send him something to show how much we miss him?
Already done.
As I suspected it would be. And here,
Tail
we
sword?
have wine already. Sorry, go ahead.
Rose is like, was it another cocktail sword?
The consort merely raises her glass to you, but you get a genuine just belly laugh out of the swordmaster. And since she's got her attention on you, Talus, she says, "And how have you found the planet?"
The planet has been agreeable. The planning has been hectic, but under control.
Yes.
All the quantities that we expect have been dealt with, and we are keeping our eyes. But I want secretly though, we have this communication.
Yeah.
Where Talus is telling the through like body language and stuff like that, the four mentats split off coordinates in the ocean 2 bars.
She
Quivering.
all of her body language is responding to the words you're saying, but then she receives that information and notes that finding that out should be near the top of your list, but also gives the signal that if you deem something else to be more important, don't just focus on that.
And we made overtures to Muratani for their stay, so that has been taken care of, and I think everything is according to plan. I have itineraries and information sent to your quarters. That'll be all set.
She looks to Silas, and Rose is here, which means you're doing your job.
Yes. Nothing important to report at the moment.
I'm glad to hear that, if pleasantly surprised. I'll be honest with all of you. I was expecting more chaos during this transition, which means one of two things. Either we've overestimated our opponents, or they're more patient than we've given them credit for. Thoughts?
I believe they are just biding their time. We should not let our guard down.
I agree.
Montana says, Silas is right. We haven't seen much of the people from Latan. They're holed up on their island as far as I can tell. Anybody they've got out here watching things isn't one of the regulars, and they haven't done anything overt, which is weird for them. I mean, they're usually refreshingly straightforward. I'm not getting any of that. Master of Assassins says, I agree with Montana here. He is. By all accounts, Latan is barely moved. And the few things they have done have been if I had to put an adjective on it, I'd say suspiciously normal. And the consort says, oh, could it be they've allied themselves with someone that actually knows how to play this game? Let's look into that, shall we? And any word from Procyon? I do hope we haven't offended them, she says in a way that means she's really hoping that we've offended them.
Can you remind me which one is Perseon again?
Procyon are the ones that you're actually making the overtures about the truce to. I mean, whether you're honest about that, but you know what I mean. They're the rivals, not the ones trying to murder you. They're the ones that used to well, actually, they still are. They're the etiquette house. They're the ones that like you would hire them to come and run your parties, but now you guys have started to replace them in a lot of places.
I did really, really annoy them at one of the parties I was running, but I reached out to them desperate for help with the function you asked me to set up.
That is excellent.
They've received a message. They have not reached out to me again, but I'm just so desperate for them to help me get this function right since I've messed up so badly. I don't want to
Yes,
disappoint.
and they're so good at it.
They are. That's why I reached out. I cannot disappoint you again. After
No.
I think that I passed out drunk at the tea party, Silas.
Yes. I heard about that. That is
Yeah.
it is really too bad. You're on the verge of damaging the house's reputation, and we can't have that. So yes, I am so glad that you've reached out to the experts on the matter to assist you.
Yeah, I don't think I could throw this party without them.
Oh, do let me know how that goes.
Yes, and please, before anything becomes concrete, please pass the budget over to
Master of Assassins raises his glass to you on that one. He doesn't do the books for the house, but he could, so he's pleased with that.
I'll just acknowledge awkwardly because I don't have a I didn't partake in any of the wine, so just kind of like gesture, kind of like
I mean, everyone has a goblet. You could raise an empty goblet. But,
I like it. This is like
I like it better. Yeah, I'm with you on that. Then she says, I have something more concrete to discuss, but it appears that our dinner is here. Sure enough, the two courtiers that left are the only two that return. And they serve each of you an excellent meal. It's clear that the consort has brought one of the chefs from the home planet with her, and the fare is simple but exquisitely prepared, and with only the finest ingredients. There were only going to be 3 courses. It's not a big deal. It's not one of those dinners. And there is a variety of stuff too. Like you may choose from various things. And it's at this point that Talus, you catch a hum from the light fixtures that indicates that at least one of the modifications that's been made to them is that they are very powerful poison sniffers.
and that's just them active. Not like okay.
Yeah, like when the food arrives, they begin to hum, and it's subsonic. But those of you that know what to, you feel it more than hear it. But those of you that have experienced this before, which is probably all of you at some point, but for obvious reasons, Talus is the first one to notice it. Yep.
And are these as far as the amount of effort and expenses? Substantial or
considerable?
Considerable. Yeah. Okay.
Not only are they not only is a poison sniffer of this capacity extremely expensive, not only is the equipment really expensive, but in order to have had it installed in here as quickly as it was, and 3 things. It was installed quickly. It was installed discreetly, and the light fixtures to most eyes don't look any different, which means in order to pay for the people that can do that and aren't going to talk, that costs even more money on top of just the equipment. So yeah, this was a lot.
Substantial expense.
Yeah, this was a big one.
Substantial expense.
Speaking of substantial expenses, the consort coming here effectively on her own. I mean, she had her entourage with her, but the consort coming here before the main group of people from the house arrived, that's also costing extra money. because it's another payment to the guild to get here.
I mean, money's not an option, but haste and immediacy.
That's exactly right.
Thanks.
Now, during the luncheon part of the gathering, the consort doesn't make any grand announcements. She doesn't like single anybody out for a report or anything like she did when she first arrived. She makes casual and relatively quiet conversation with those that are close to her, which means the rest of you are welcome to do so as well. And I see Rose is practicing for her next party. And
That's good.
Which means during the meal portion of it, if any of you wanted to talk to anyone else that's here, each other or any one of the NPCs or anything, you may do so. And if not, we'll skip to the part after the eating. But the eating is literally it's genuinely got sort of a family luncheon sort of feel to it. Just like this is the time that we share a meal and sort of reconnect as a house.
Silas do have some conversation he wants to have, but probably not in such a public locale.
Okay.
So he is.
There will be time later if you need to corner someone individually. Not a problem.
Yeah, he goes through the courses as if he's doing his bodyguard job, like just very serious.
Yeah. Got it.
With discipline. Expression.
And one thing that's interesting is the Swordmaster's doing the same thing, but outwardly he like Silas, you can tell that he's not missing anything. He's watching whatever's going on, but his air is one of kind of a frat boy. He's just kind of like I'm just here to have some wine and chill out with my Mentat pal and maybe tell a few jokes and things like that. But he's also the main difference between what he's doing and what you're doing is right now he doesn't have a specific person to guard, and you do. So he appears to be looking for more general threats, shall we say?
I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
Did my daughter inform us? Was she aware of the? Because I don't know if she would have been in a position to hear this or not. So I need to know whether I know this or not.
Okay.
About the there being the Latan using that smuggler as an intermediary.
Oh. Actually, she does.
Okay.
And the reason that she knows that is something else that she reported to you that I forgot to tell you she reported to you. She mentioned that Silas has definitely been in contact multiple times with that Bene Gesserit.
Okay. All right. Good to know. So
Uncle
that
Silas.
yeah, Uncle Silas. No, yeah, absolutely. I have so there are some things that I can. This adds to the things that I can officially recommend.
Sure.
And I don't know whether this is the time or whether there is another time to make official recommendations, or if that time has passed already.
No, it hasn't. And like the conversation can be about house business. It's just this is the time for her kind of getting reports from everybody gets passed. But you wouldn't be out of line if you brought it up just during, like, hey, I noticed this thing.
Yeah. Which course is the best course to bring this up during?
Yeah. Before dessert, definitely before.
Good.
Dessert.
Okay. All right. That's good to know. That's good.
We asked her if she's heard anything about who sent the Bene Gesserit. I know I said that wrong.
Wait, which?
The assassin. Does she know if anyone who heard any chatter about it?
Are you asking the consort about that?
Yeah.
Or
Or if anybody
um,
that.
yeah. You can definitely ask her that. Um, she says, off the top of my head, no. But Silas, can you describe her for me?
Right, yeah, and I offer a description and I also give the false name that she. What was it? Catherine, the
Yeah, I'll have to
original
look
name?
it up. She had a couple of them, but
I think the one she gave me it's a K name.
it was.
That-
Yeah. I've got it
Carissa.
here. That was it. Man, thank you. All right. So yeah, she says, she nods and then looks to one of her courtiers, as if assigning this task to her. But for those of you who know what to look for, and that's probably all of you, it's obvious that's what she's doing. That one wasn't surreptitious. She it was subtle, but like she wasn't trying to hide it. That she was like, yeah, you, the tall one, remember this information and go look for that Bene Gesserit. Or not necessarily that, look for information on that Bene Gesserit. She says, well, if we discover anything, the two of you will be the next to know. Can't have Bene Gesserit just running around unchecked, can we?
No worries. I have her watched. If she makes any moves, I'll know about it first.
And Nero, Evangeline gives you the hand sign that basically says, yes, I bet he is watching her.
And, I will respond with a hand sign that is probably best not repeated in public. That is entirely for Evangeline's amusement. But
you nearly got her on that one, and she masks her smile by taking a sip of wine.
This
wine,
wouldn't
by the
work
way,
if we didn't get along well. That's the point. Yeah.
It's exactly true.
Yeah.
By the way, Talus, I need to point out that the wine that you brought back is excellent. So good that the consort has decided to just stick with this for the rest of the meal. So when she has more wine brought in, it's exactly the same stuff that you brought in when you first came in. Yeah. Anyone else have anything to do during the luncheon portion? Yes.
Okay. So this is something that the timing of this is typically for me. If anyone asks me how the guild business is going,
and it comes up.
Yeah. So when I
actually, the Master of Assassins was the one to bring it up.
Yeah,
but it gives you the opening.
Yeah. So first off, let me. Oh God, notes. Okay. So yes, it's an interesting thing. We're actually because if we remember, my job is also to spy on the guild.
Exactly right.
So it's an interesting thing. The guild seems to be looking for opportunities with the Salt Guild now, among other things, as Latan had kept that closed off. Latan, similarly, on the other side, I had a few chats with some of them, and not Latan, the Salt Guild on the other side. I had a few chats with them. Have stated that also are interested in new opportunities. So I think we're in a perfect position to leverage that. For one thing.
Yes, I agree.
That's
really my husband's side of things, but I think that I think you're absolutely right.
I am suggesting that we can give them. There are some things that we can offer them that I think, and depending on the means by which we offer them, that can get them further into our pocket. Just some thoughts with respect to that. That said,
do you think this has reached the level of an official report, Nero?
Oh goodness! Oh goodness! I don't know that we. I don't know that we want to. I don't know if we want to commit that much, but perhaps. I will say that. I will, however, say that the next thing I have to say, however, might. and that is simply that in light of such things, and in light recently, I believe we had identified. Did we not identify? And I'm not going to try to steal the chance to be the first to say this from Silas or Rose, so I'm going to kind of look at them as I'm saying
all right.
this. Did we? I was just hearing some things. Did we not identify the? Have we yet identified the go-between that Latan is using? Did I hear that right, or was I imagining that?
Yes, we have, right?
That's the smuggler. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, I think by this point I would have learned more about him because I did set people on him to investigate more about his background.
Yeah, you've got the information though. So
yeah, I will present that information at the prompting.
Yeah, no problem.
And just in light of said things, it just occurs to me that we are in a position to be able to flip them, that their intermediary.
Yes, that was my information.
Yeah, and yes, I it's a good idea. It's a very good idea, and I just wanted to offer that there are some things we might be able to provide them that their current employers can't. We're they're not art smuggling, right?
Yes, yeah, they are us. They do art smuggling, right? Yes.
Now we have the opportunity here to provide them a whole new line.
That gets a raised eyebrow from the consort.
And if we wanted to, we could provide them a line of a slightly more direct line, I suppose, if we wanted to get into that business. And
perish the thought.
Well, indeed,
that would cut into our bottom line, she says, giving you the go-ahead to do exactly what you just said.
And part of the reason I bring it up is, it may seem unusual, is just the reason I was thinking about it is because there, of course, with the fact that we are arranging transportation and trying to make certain that anything that goes in or out of the space that we control is monitored as well as we would like it to be. We are in the position of being able, I think, to help with, if need be, things being transported, people being transported, appearing, disappearing, that sort of thing. So I just wanted to offer that up as a possible things that we can make good with. And indeed, as far as leverage, indeed, over the Salt Guild as well, as they're looking for easier transportation as well, and so I thought that perhaps we might be able to, as a way of greasing the wheels, at least temporarily, be able to extend them some degree of credit.
This is not my bailiwick, but from hearing those that do know about such things talk, I have understood that House Latan did not maximize their opportunities when they were in charge here. I am of the opinion, and people more knowledgeable about these things than I are convinced that they squandered the vast resources of this world, which is just proving to be a cornucopia of opportunity. This tells us, again, it opens two opportunities, doesn't it? Either they are shatteringly incompetent, or the road to capitalizing on these opportunities is somehow being blocked. And they were incapable of surmounting those obstacles. I don't know which that is, she says, in one of the probably most honest things she said since she got here. But I'm absolutely aching to find out what the answer might be. Oh, good, dessert. And unsurprisingly, the dessert is just it's the perfect cap to all of the courses before. This time they do shift to a sweeter wine, but yeah, this the ingredients for this the ingredients for this dessert are entirely from off-world, which means they brought them with them as part of the cargo on this extremely expensive guild trip to get here, and they probably arrived like earlier today, if the state of those courtiers is any indication.
The food that we've had here came with the consort, correct?
Almost all of it. You do have a few ingredients that were sourced from here on this world, but the vast majority of it came with them.
Is there any meaning to ingredients? Courses?
Interestingly, this is exactly the sort of meal that you would serve someone if you wanted serve an outsider, if you wanted to impress them with how much wealth and power you have. But but this is internal.
Mm-hmm.
But beyond that, you're not picking up any, say, coded messages or anything like that.
Interesting.
And we all know each other, right?
Yeah.
So there's nobody here to impress that we can see.
Everyone here has been at state dinners back on the homeworld. Everyone here is from the inner circle. This isn't the entire inner circle, by the way. Some of them are still back on the homeworld. Some of them are on this world. They just, for whatever reason, weren't invited to this.
Impress or
Are all of the
Okay,
are the two couriers familiar?
Yes. Yeah. They you know them, and you have never seen them. You've never seen them on a world that the consort is not on, which means mostly they spend time on the homeworld because the consort rarely leaves the homeworld.
I think
But yeah, even they are familiar.
I think the thing that Talus may infer from this is it's to impress, but internally it could be to reassure, which is not necessarily a good sign.
Not necessarily. And then once dessert is over and the dishes have been cleared, again, by those two courtiers. No other servants have entered the room. Which is unusual. None of you have ever been at a dinner, even a relatively secret one, that didn't have some servants involved. This one is not that. And then she says, "Shall I break the suspense then? It's nothing dire. I'll tell you that. But I have arrived earlier than intended for a couple of reasons. First, keep your ears open and find out if anyone knows I've arrived. And let me know immediately who that is, and if possible, do tell me how you found that out. Because that will tell us so much of what we need to know to prepare for the Grand Gala. Those are the people we need to seriously watch out for. And by the way, I expect word will eventually get out. But I trust it won't come from any of you. And her tone makes it clear she did not intend that one as a threat. She's not beyond saying exactly that sort of thing as a threat. But she said it more like she genuinely doesn't think any of you are going to tell anyone that she's here. It's not like, this wasn't there will be consequences for you. But there's a subtle undercurrent of, if I do find out it was any of you, we're going to have a talk. But, but you can tell from her tone and her body language, and also just having known her for a while, that she considers any of you telling whether she's right about this or not, by the way, but she considers any of the people in this room telling someone that she's here an extremely outside chance. And she says, but I wouldn't have come here just for that. Entertaining as that game is likely to be, there have been rumblings of a serious disruption of the Grand Gala. And look, I know it's just, when it all comes down to it, I think we can all agree it's just another party. And if a few things present hiccups here and there, that's just a story for those who attended to tell people later. That's not what I'm talking about. This isn't one of those everything has to be perfect or we are ruined. That's not it. When I say disruption, I mean, I feel that someone is going to try to make a statement. A potentially lethal one. Or at the very least, destructive to an extent that we will have difficulty recovering from. Because the Emperor bestowed this world upon us for a reason. We did well in his eyes. Extraordinarily well. Both for ourselves and for the Imperium. And for many other members of the Landstrat. And for that, we've made some enemies, and that's to be expected. But the Emperor also gave us this because, and I'd appreciate it if we didn't spread this out too much, but it's obvious he knew that this would stretch our resources. He wanted to make sure that we didn't have the opportunity to gather enough wealth and power to be a threat. So he gave us this, which we could not refuse, to spread everything out all that much more. And yes, we could not refuse it. We didn't want to refuse it. As we've discussed already, look at the opportunities. But if something particularly catastrophic happens between now and the end of our gala, it's going to be difficult for us to capitalize on that, and it will be a significant step backwards. And whatever your personal goals are, I don't care, as long as they don't affect what it is that we as a house are trying to do. But I also imagine, quite strongly, that your personal goals might also be affected by something of that nature occurring. Now, I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's a true assassination attempt, unlike some of these testings that we've been seeing. I don't know if it's directed at me or Rose or the High Chancellor or someone else, maybe something else. So, one of the other reasons I'm here is for us to try to get ahead of this. If we can find out what it is, of course, that would be best. But I'll tell you one thing. If I were trying to do what they're attempting to do, I'd have multiple options. So, let's be as prepared as we can be and do what we can to strengthen our position just in case everything goes particularly sour. And with that, she tosses back the remainder of the contents of her wine glass, looking a lot more like the swordmaster than the consort in that one move. Sort of indicating that she's done talking now, though. Any suggestions? And if not, you know where to find me.
Well, what ways have you all found for us? Has anybody found to get more resources without perhaps the Emperor knowing?
I'm having an internal struggle. I'm having an internal struggle with whether or not I want to reveal this at this time to all of these people. Because, like, it would come in handy here. But then if I have any secret agendas, it would not. It would probably hurt that. I don't know.
Fair point.
No. I'm gonna have to. There's enough of this that's gonna have to end up getting shared. I think ultimately, given the number of hands it has to pass through.
Fair point.
This, I think, at least I'll have to talk about. Okay.
Okay.
All right. I've heard some rumblings that there are further resources vast resources on this planet that have yet to be tapped, or even fully known about.
Montana leans forward at this. He's the most obviously curious.
It's a question of depth, I believe, getting to the right place. I've been talking to, as I said, the Salt Guild. I've also been out to, and actually I'll just sort of, I'm going to glance over, and also, this is the other reason, is because my freaking cousin is here. Glance over at Gerald, and I had to look over at the shipyards as well.
Gerald says, been meaning to get out there myself.
Good people, but they're very professional. They like it when you talk shop. I'll say that.
Good to know.
But there has been some suggestions that to me that and this is there is an interest on the part of the Salt Guild to try to get at more of the planet's resources. It's a little difficult for them because of the climate, the difficulty getting through the storms, and then they think there are things at certain depths that they might be able to reach. But the difficulty is getting down there.
And Montana leans forward a little more and says, you can tell a lot about people from their music. They have many, many songs about the storms, about them destroying everything, or surviving them, naming them. You know, some of the storms here, instead of the people giving them names, sometimes survivors of the storm change their own names. And then they write songs about that. Excellent music, by the way.
That is fascinating.
But you know what I've heard absolutely no songs about? Anything under the surface. Not from a single person on this world.
Mm-hmm. There's some things that still need to be confirmed, but my understanding is there's at least someone on this world who is interested in finding out what's down there.
And where's the location of these resources? Which part of the planet?
Well, that is something that I'm going to need a little more we're going to need to figure out a little bit better. But I think that we might have a bit of a leg up on trying to start working it out. But actually, and I'll just at this point I'll just say it casually to Talus. I actually have some things I could some data I could toss over to you if you'd be interested in seeing it.
Oh, muted.
Yes, more data, the better.
Certainly, I'll fill you in on all the specific little boring details that I got from it from that whole affair when we have a moment. But
I'm sure we may be able to glean something from it.
Yeah, I think that it could tell us a lot. In fact, if we know if there are any other, good God, surely we've got an entire academy here. I'm sure that we will occasionally find people trying to transfer credits or what have you. There might even be experts on this planet at some learning institution who might have more knowledge about what lies beneath. But there's I think that we've got a lot of pieces of a puzzle, and we just need to put them together. And we can at least start seeing rather the shape of what it is that we're looking at. But there seems to be interest, and there is definite, I don't want to say absolute definite motion towards it, but there's motion towards trying to tap into it. Someone is, I think, going to be allocating resources to it. So that itself, I think, is worth looking into. There is a suggestion, and at least, goodness knows, the salt merchants seem to believe that there's far more in this planet than anyone has seen thus far. So, if we wish to develop our own, shall we say, a separate nest egg, that would definitely be a place to look.
I mean, that's certainly worth considering. We were given this property, not just for the academy. There had to be something else. Be good to know what other people know that we do not.
Consort says, it's a shame that House Latan is the best resource for that. But one does what one can.
They still might be a resource, depending unfriendly, that we might be able to tap anyways.
Yes. I like that line of thinking.
I also shrug, and I actually will glance at Vange for a second when I say this. I know, if nothing else, we're very good at hearing things. When we want to be.
Consort says, indeed. Well, you have all been so industrious.
I have a suggestion.
Mm-hmm.
Since our resources will be, apparently they are going to be stretched, when we're ready, perhaps we should just kind of start to show that our resources are getting stretched.
Uh-huh.
So that they know how much of a hard time we're having.
Yes. Yes, indeed.
I think we need to be a little bit more ready before we do that, so that we prepare for whatever move they're going to make next.
Yes. Excellent idea. Do put that in motion.
I'm good at causing disruptions and revealing things that shouldn't be revealed.
Oh, I know. I know. We've sent you to so many schools, et cetera, et cetera. None of it seems to take.
I don't know. I just think I've had too much wine.
Oh, I know. It's truly one of your most unfortunate habits.
And the parties.
Oh, I know. I know. I'm most disappointed, and I'll
I
be
think-
sure to tell people that when they need to hear it.
I think talent, when you said, you just see like this, like kind of like tense look on Tal's face when you notice like the like that disapprove.
You get a very subtle nod from the Master of Assassins. Well, I mean this genuinely. You have all done excellent work. I'm afraid it is time for me to retire, but do enjoy the rest of the evening. Before we leave, I'll have some more wine brought in and whatever else you wish. But the servants will not set foot in this wing until sunrise. And with that, she and her two courtiers and about half of the others leave. She and the courtiers leave through the small door that she came in. The other people go out the big doors. They just take this as their cue to some of them like clearly have work to do, and they've been like assigned things by their superiors that are in this room. Some of the others are just have decided that they don't want to be here anymore. They're just leaving.
Before the concert leaves, I'll
Yeah.
kind of intuit that there are things I would like to discuss before the night is over.
She beckons for you to join her and the courtiers if you wish. So the four of you can meet in one of those sort of back hall servant areas.
Mhm.
So yeah, we can go to that if you want to talk
I
to
think
her.
she says there's like a little bit of exclamation alone.
She gestures for the courtiers to actually she actually says, prepare my quarters, and they leave. And inclines her head as if to tell you to once they're gone. Oh, muted again.
Oh, I said we're alone now, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, you're here early.
Yes, and my reasons for it are most of what I said in there.
Most.
And I had a few other things. Sometimes it's just good to get away.
Good to get away and cause very expensive getting away. Very expensive. I did notice the poison. That's not something you do to get away.
When one is in our position, there's only so much one can do to find time to oneself.
So all this is to get away, then.
In part.
Nothing else?
Well, sometimes the best way to test a system is to throw a rock into it.
Hmm. And who do you think it is? Rose? You?
Hmm.
Who are they after? If we know who they are.
I honestly don't know yet. Whoever it is, they're covering their tracks remarkably well. And they've spread their... I know this is maddening for you. The problem is, they are acting as if they are trying to conceal things specifically from you,
From me?
and to a lesser extent, Gerald.
Hmm.
Which means they have mentats of their own working countermeasures.
Yes, I'm aware of them. I've seen 4 of them. Possibly more.
Already here.
Yes.
Those are the ones Silas was talking about.
Yes.
And that you... Oh. I'm glad you said that. I hadn't put everything together, but I suspect they may be related, yeah.
More related than those 2 ways.
Hmm.
The issue that Nero brought up at the dinner could be involved in that as well.
Hmm.
One use for multiple mentats is high level probability.
They're operating on a level that we are not, is what you're saying?
Yes, highly useful in possibly surveying, gathering information, using them. It's a matter of finding spots, finding places.
Does that make them more likely to detect false information?
As easily as real information, good information.
Hmm. I'm not used to being on this side of things. I don't like it.
Well, it's the place we're in now. We have
Yes.
we have a larger spotlight us. More people rooting against us to fall.
You're absolutely right. That part I knew, obviously. But this Mentat thing... Yes, turns out it's higher priority than I thought.
Yes. And the any real information on concrete attempts on any of the house?
Alas, nothing actionable. They've done an excellent job of both deception and discretion.
Hmm.
Led us down a couple of false paths into some dead ends that we realized were such before it became too late, but not before we had been deflected from whatever it was they were actually doing. They're very good.
Yes, it is entirely possible also that these attempts could be distractions.
You're right.
Using our own house members as shields to whatever they're doing.
And again, that's usually our move.
But if I may bring up something, if the target is right, it could be successful and it could be used to heighten plans. Of course.
You're right.
She is ready anytime. If you
You're
wish to
certain
take
of
up that
that?
burden. Yes. Kept an eye. Shrewd moves. Good
Good to
moves.
hear.
Good moves obscured by foolish actions.
Yes,
It's a good match.
I'm glad to hear that, especially from you. I haven't been able to directly observe her in quite some time, but she's definitely learning. Well, I have my own methods of discovering things, and of course, you'll be the next to know once I find out what those are. But for the next several days, I'm limited in what I can do without revealing myself.
Yes. And we'll be sure to find out if anyone breaks that breach in trust, surely.
Indeed. I will. Well, yes, I'll be as careful as I can, of course, but as you said, what we're dealing with may be playing right into their hands.
Yes.
Let's do try to avoid that.
Yes, we must assume we are at all times. Keep
Mhm.
on our toes. Well, if there's nothing left, I should probably get back to them. Make sure that if I'm gone too long, things will be amiss. And this will no longer be a buy the book, download information, of course.
Of course. We'll communicate through the usual channels until further notice then.
Yes. And I think Talus will walk to the door. And before she exits, she'll, as much as a fuss as this has brought up, it's good to see you this early. I've missed your presence greatly.
The feeling's mutual, Talus.
Mm.
Do be careful.
Yes, always. You too.
And with that, you catch her departure just enough to know that she's walking by herself down the hall, so she feels safe here. And you also know that her quarters are just one level up and not that far away. Meanwhile, back in the ballroom, what's everyone else up to?
I'm just shadowing the air as usual.
Montana is still here, by the way. Go ahead, Nero.
I actually want to talk to Rose a little bit.
Okay.
About about a couple, but first off, I need to know, and this is actually going to be pretty. What I was thinking about is pretty simple. Can I would I have? I think this is something I have access to. Actually, no, let's talk about it. It's and what Nero's basically been over to sort of saying, it is I just have to say, and I know I've probably said this so many times, it is a delight watching you work.
Oh wait, to whom?
To Rose.
To Rose? To Rose?
Yes.
That's what I thought. Good. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. I didn't know you were watching. Of course you did.
Shrugs. That's good. There's some things you can do that I'm just a mere amateur at. I'll just put it that way. But there's I was from sort of some flutterings of things. I did realize that I might be able to assist with something possibly here. Did you have any? I was wondering if you had any thoughts about where we're standing with Procyon.
Out of character, it just completely slipped my brain.
I think there was something you were trying to do with Procyon, but I can't remember entirely what it was. But it was like you were trying to.
Oh, that was the one where you were
something
asking
with
him for help.
relations.
For help on the reception.
Yeah, like smoothing things over, right, with them,
Yeah.
possibly.
Oh yeah, smoothing.
Yeah, right. I mean, on the surface, that's what you were doing, right? We'll get to that,
Yes.
Yeah.
but yeah, that.
Oh, so you can help with that?
Possibly. I think that I just need to make a call or two, and I think I might be able to get you some of the ship log information if you want to better point on where they are going and where they are.
Yes, that would be really helpful.
All right.
Thank you.
No, I'll make a call. That's not a problem. Ultimately, it also occurs to me, if we need any help with our and he'll actually also from the way Nero is looking from you to Silas, he's also kind of including Silas in this, as when he says, I think that if it also did occur to me if as just a thought, if we get at some point a better lock on Procyon, if we get if there is some sort of influence or mutual aid or whatever whatever it ends up shaping up as, if we should end up trying to go the route of gaining the loyalty information, what have you, out of the smuggler that Latan has been using. It also occurs to me that one way to assist with our if we end up with an operation whereby we are, shall we say, seeding the black market. Procyon has a lot of say over what standards are and are not, even as far as shall we say, their own books for the appreciation of art goes. We might be able to, if we can get them to make certain adjustments, then I think on the one hand, with the carrot, we can offer the smuggler certain things, but if we want to employ the stick, we can make anything they get out of Latan useless, valueless. If we, shall we say, have an oar in with those who set the standards.
Best to withhold the stick for now. We do not want to arouse too much suspicions.
Oh, of course, but just something I was thinking about, and I will get you that information as soon as I get it.
And I like
Thank
that
you.
idea. We could definitely work that in. You could like see the wheels turning in Rose's head.
And that's, I think, one of the things I think that Nero just enjoys doing is going and just prodding to watch the wheels turn. Mostly, it's just like, because he knows how good you are at this, and it just delights him. That was all I had in the intermediary, though. In the intermediary time before Talus gets back, anyway.
Gotcha. Speaking of which, Talus is back.
I'm gonna hold back in case anyone else wants to do anything before I leap toward Talus.
Actually, Silas would approach Talus once she returns, and like it does, just like Silas basically just excuse himself from Rose for a bit, and just goes to Talus as soon as she enters and goes, "I understand that you are looking into the four mentats."
Yes. Yes. They are a thing of interest for us. High interest.
That is good to hear, because they are the same to me. Perhaps we can pool our resources.
Yes, that's certainly something we can do. It's I've got some information that might, or counter information depending, that we could use to figure out what they are doing.
All right, and with that, I shall begin sharing information. Mostly for Silas. He's sort of like suspicious about the two that went out into the sea, and after hearing what oh god, Jim's character's name, it just slipped my mind.
Hunter.
Yes. Wait, I thought Hunter is Jen's character. Jim.
Yeah.
Oh,
Jim.
yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, sorry.
Nero.
Nero.
I heard
Yes,
Jen.
Nero.
Sorry.
Yes, about the resources, and Silas is like wondering, is that where those two mentats could perhaps be heading to?
Fair point. Yeah.
So yes, that is what Silas will say to you, Talus, as the main focus of interest for him in regards to the mentats,
Yeah.
and whether you know anything about what they're doing out at sea.
Yeah. I'll make sure that we're a little bit like kind of secluded away from everyone. But
Oh yeah.
yes, that is exactly what I had thought. Your instincts for the first two are correct. The other two also worry me for issues that there could be a third party, of course. Third party sharing information, one thing they're looking for. They're obviously looking for something, but maybe they're going through an intermediary for more concrete. After all, there have been houses here that have been here longer, have more information about what they're looking for. They might not have had the means, but they might have the information. So I think if there's a side that you want to pursue, I can take up the slack on the others.
All right.
Because they're obviously working in tandem in some way. One is possibly a surveyor, the other as information gathering and verification.
Okay, I'll go. I believe that I have my suspicions that House Latan might be pulling strings from the back, and I will reveal the Bene Gesserit and the meeting that she had with one of the smuggler from the crime syndicate ring, and this same crime syndicate having a member talking with the other two mentats. So I think Silas will just go, I will focus on the two mentats here. You can focus on the ones out at sea. Try to see what they're up to.
The Bene Gesserit, what was your read?
I believe that Latan is attempting to, or rather, I suspect that they might be gathering enemies to our houses in order to sort of put together a concerted effort to destabilize us, but it is just suspicions at the moment.
How persuasive could you be with the Bene Gesserit?
As persuasive as I need to be.
And you might need to be, because we could use somebody like that.
Understood.
For something. Another thing, a question. What is your opinion on the air? How they are approaching things?
I believe that it is where she shines the most and that where she can be most effective.
Do you think she is ready? Honest opinion. No sugarcoating. I need to know.
Silas will say almost with no hesitation, yes.
Good. Because we have put a lot of effort in cultivating their talents. And you remain in a vital place of importance to keep them safe. I know we can trust you too.
That is my purpose.
And I know that you will deal with anybody that tries to do them harm in any way. So I will leave you to that and pursue the other things that we have to take care of here.
Of
Because
course.
that time might come up sooner than later.
Understood. And with that, Silas gives a nod and then goes back to Rose. And yeah, and that's what Silas does for the time being.
Gotcha. Excellent.
So vulture-like,
metaphorically pouncing on the mentat.
vulture-like, I will head over now. This actually isn't even that bad, but probably not.
No.
We'll see. going to just sort of seeing that I'll head over. I'll sort of head over. He's been standing at a respectful distance and waiting for the to finish your conversation. Nero's going to start heading over to Talus.
As you're heading over there, you hear Evangeline laugh at a joke that the swords master has told.
Hmm.
Seems to be having an animated conversation with him.
Noted. So, no, so I'm just gonna head over to Talus. Yeah. I think I think this is actually going to be a fairly productive evening.
I certainly hope so, with the amount of upheaval that has happened today.
Yeah, one should. Yeah, that's the trick. Well, it's just getting ahead of it. Just getting ahead of it, right? Is there somewhere around? Is there a terminal around here we could use?
Yes.
Got some things to show you.
And I'll take to like a area of discretion.
Yeah.
If I'll just say also my quarters probably aren't that far from there, so we can maybe do that.
Oh, true point. Yeah, if you
Yeah,
wanted
that's
to,
fair.
if you wanted to make it particularly private, yeah, you can do that.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Business.
Yeah, not a problem. It's a short
Whatever
walk.
works.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. All right. Okay.
Yes.
Ah.
We should
Excellent.
have all the privacy here that we need.
Good.
Before we do that, what do you feel like with as much detail as you wish? But I'm curious about describing Talus's quarters.
Yeah.
It's very austere. There's a nominal area where you're supposed to greet people and have them. If people were to like this case come in, there is a couch, but it's ill used. It has been used. It feels new.
Okay.
What Nero could probably see is there is a larger area that is basically a empty room, like a just a black empty room with like amber like lighting on it. And you can probably guess it's as a mentat. That's probably some area of like meditation or or quiet calculation.
Huh.
Yes.
Nice. I've barely had a chance to I think I've spent maybe only 1 or 2 nights in the building before. It's I'm usually off, so it's just very nice to see here.
How is the family taking to it?
Well, they what I have to say, actually, what the hell are my kids' names? Let me look at the right tab here. There we go.
One, the assassin, and the other 2.
Yeah, yeah. Well, yeah. Well, I mean, Alexis is taken right to it. She's very adaptable.
Has to be expected.
But absolutely, Zoss is having a little bit of trouble though. Unfortunately, he misses the old place, and you know how it goes. But I think that he's going to have an even better education here for what he was being directed at, I think, than he was back home. And as you know, it's the thing. Jordan, it's a little bit of an odd one because he likes the travel, you know. So it's I mean he tries to he tries to come to work with me so often, just as we go back and forth from place to place, and so I don't know if he's ever going to be settled down on a planet. I'll just put it that way. But
yes,
it's been pretty good. It's been pretty good. But that said, I have had the opportunity actually to go by a couple of different places, and so I gathered some data from both of them that I wanted to talk to you about. This might have a connection to the mentats you mentioned, possibly, if they're out at sea looking for things. Perhaps. Although it's going to depend. I don't know how much they're going to get from where they are. Well, let me show you what I'm talking about. So I've made some inroads, and he's got a couple of little chips, whatever. The first data chips he's gonna let you play. He's not gonna but he's gonna let you take a look at it, and you're gonna see a series information that probably that comes from the Salt Guild, and he's going to say, so this is I've made a little bit of inroads with the Salt Guild as we're starting tenuously. I've extended them a little bit of credit to as they are desperate for transportation ability right now, as they want to increase their reach. And they have, as part of what they've been doing for years, been gathering data on the on how things on the planet work, and a little bit underneath, not to massive depths, but there are certain things they know about. And so they agreed to share this with me. So this gives us some data on the planet and how and where certain things are. Now, the upshot of this is, he says, taking out the second chip, this I got from the Iona shipyards. Now, this is a bit of a hush-hush thing, right? So,
we would not be here otherwise.
Yes, I say, so I just kind of will smirk for a second and says, maybe don't tell Gerald immediately. I suspect he wants to find out on his own. Maybe he will, but this is information from a project that Ionis has been researching for some time. I wasn't able to get all of it, but I'm hoping that with these pieces of data points combined, we might be able to start seeing the shape of things. And this one you're going to see probably more information from a lower depth, I'm hoping. And he says, so here's the upshot of this. Ionis primarily does interplanetary vessels. We know this. They do have sidelines with compatible other vehicles. For the first time I have ever heard, they are working on a submarine. Now, that is a thing that requires resources. That is a thing that requires a client.
Yes.
Someone here is looking for something below the depths. I have been hearing rumblings. I don't know if it's just simply rumor, but from people who seem to be at least conscious of it. There is, and it's amazing actually. Now, in the context of what Arliss mentioned earlier, that there isn't more talk of such things, but there are possibly things down there that are making it difficult to get further down, where they believe a rather large wealth of resources are located. Now, they would not tell me who the client is.
Of course not.
But I think we know it's a relatively short list of people who'd be able to afford something like this and be interested in it at this time. It's really, there's one potential name on that list that I'm a little bit, shall we say, concerned about, and I think we should all be concerned about.
Go on.
So, this might, combined with the information you've already gathered, I am hoping, point us in some direction as to finding a way to exploit this planet's resources. I am already working on the folks at the shipyard a little bit to see if there might be some exchange possible there to see if I can get more information about what they have. But this is, as we all know, a slow process, the ingratiation process.
Yes. Yes, I did. I did see your particular ingratiation process, effective as it is.
And in any case, well, I do the job. It's when I don't do the job, things slide into chaos. Can't have that. So, I'm hoping this might suggest something to you, this information, and that it might help us to figure out and pinpoint some of what might be going on here.
Well, it certainly does. That certainly does complicate things in general. Vast resource that we don't know. Vast amounts of R&D and secret building for a way to get to it. Correct.
I will say there's something that's troubling me a little bit about that quartet of mentats.
Yes.
The two it occurs to me there are only two possibilities for the ones that are out on the ocean. One possibility is that they are out working in concert with whoever this client is, trying to triangulate locations. The locations of these resources. Which means they've got rather a lot to bring to bear, perhaps even more than it might appear initially. That's one possibility. The other possibility is no better, possibly worse, and that means there are two players on the board. And the mentats don't know where the ones who have hired Ionos are looking.
Now you say that could be bad for us, but I think that could be a benefit for us. They're both fighting for it, which means they both have to stay away from our scrutiny. This is, after all, our place, and them kicking up dust trying to find this thing. It's not beneficial to them.
Yes, I do see that. It's rather than fighting a battle on two fronts, it is rather better to, shall we say, initiate a game of let's you and him fight.
Or in the way of business is, because having our house having a vast amount of resources. First of all, we get to figure out what they are. But one way we could play this is we could cede rights to them, allow them to extract with less amount of scrutiny, down low, quietly, benefit that way. Let them take the brunt of the problems that comes with extracting something like that. So we do have this would be a different side of our having hands in different places. And if we have a motherload of resources that could bring even more scrutiny on us and more pressure.
I see what you're saying. Yeah.
But first we have to figure out what it is.
Yeah, precisely that. Also good to keep an eye out on any deals that might be going back and forth, any intermediaries approaching us for rights, things of that nature. Yeah. Also, it's part of the reason why I was asking about an expert. We might want to see if we can find someone who's been on this planet for some time who studies marine biology. Someone's got to have some theories.
I'm sure there's probably quite a few. We just have to look. Provided they aren't being, hidden away by others that want to already have that information, want to keep it secret.
Yes. I think I'm going to start... I'm going to ask some of the folks back at the office to keep an eye out for certain comings and goings.
Yes, your contacts, they must keep immaculate records, of course.
Oh, quite. It is funny, some of them, the more spice they get a hold of, the more immaculate the records become.
Well, that's something we can count on.
Yes.
The hold they have on it.
Indeed. That's one of the reasons a pity. It's and I can't believe I'm about to say this, but it's one of the reasons a bit of a pity that Hunter wasn't here. Wanted to have a little chat with him about that.
Yes, someone with their knowledge would be very useful.
Yeah.
Provided you can set up that contact again.
I think so.
If certainly the amount of benefits and funds we can send their way would probably be very persuasive.
Indeed.
Yes, I'll keep an eye out on those mentats. I think they're well accounted for. And I think someone with okay, we will keep you in the loop as far as the business, because that seems to be something that we can rely on you to take care of. Depending on which way you think we should go with discovery in our very backyard.
Right. I'd be happy to help.
Yes.
Yeah.
And your family has been nothing but of service to the house, which you should be very proud of.
It is our duty. It is what that's here to serve.
Your daughter, of course. Very promising.
I'm going to tell you, because if you haven't, you might have even sussed this out already, but if you haven't, you're going to. She is, at times, frighteningly good at her job.
Good to hear.
It is. Provided she doesn't lose focus on, well, the greater picture.
How so?
Perhaps it's nothing. Perhaps it's just,
Nothing can be something.
yeah. You know, when you have, I will just simply say I wasn't prepared for a child reaching this age, and she is Alexis is a wonder, but she is also she has her obsessions. Certain things have to be just so. She has to be the best at what she does. And I appreciate that, and that is good for us. But the important thing is that it not swallow her whole, if that makes sense. She might end up being a little too good, is what I'm saying. I'm hoping that's not going to be the case. But the father worries sometimes.
Yes. Sometimes you get sometimes that focus can become a way of life, give you drive, make you do better. It's also be good to cultivate that sort of thing rather than totally dilute it.
Yeah, of course.
You get what I say.
I never expected to be even the least bit reluctant when we got to this point, you know?
Children.
Children.
No, not that I would know anything, but I imagine that process of them being on their own does bring up certain issues of mortality, despite how much we may not say.
Right. Well, I shall endeavor to, I believe the phrase is stick the landing on this one as best I can. And if nothing else, well, lucky me, I get to do it again in a handful of years.
Yes.
Twice over.
Yes. And we'll do what we can to make sure that she flourish. And be as beneficial to the house as you have. And may you raise even higher in this.
Oh. One can always hope.
Yes.
And I think with that he will nod to you and he will head out of the room and just once again just merrily head out of the room. And it probably won't be until he gets several corridors away that he just that he finally just his fist slowly clenches and unclenches for a few seconds. As the mask doesn't make it all the way to the hand for a few seconds.
Right. And so we're getting close to time to wrap up. So does anyone have anything else? Yeah, anything else they want to do before we do that? Yeah.
Yes. So Rose is sitting there. Most of the time you look over it looks like she's just sketching.
Mm-hmm.
But she's going to do two things. She's going to write a to-do list in like really kind of loopy handwriting.
Mm-hmm. Uh-huh.
And it's going to look like a party planning to-do list. And on the bottom of it, she's going to put, do not drink too much. Do not, I don't know what kind of expensive table gift trinket that she could break down, but she's going, do not buy this.
Right.
Expensive. And she's just trying to set it up to look like she's supposed to be planning this thing that she said that she was planning.
Absolutely.
She's having trouble with it.
Yeah.
So she might leave it somewhere, or it might just be out. And she's also going to take off her shoe and spill some wine on it. She's going to use that later.
Yep.
Because she always wears lots of like light, frilly colors.
Right.
So it's going to be something, she's going to wear it so that people could maybe see it. And she's going to use that to plant somewhere at some point.
Nice. Okay.
Or have her, I haven't named her little group yet.
Oh, yeah. But whatever that is. Yeah. I like that.
Yeah, but maybe one of them will wear or something just so that it can be seen.
That's good. Yeah, because that has multiple uses. I like that a lot. Not a problem with that. Anything else from Silas?
No. Silas is just bodyguard duty for now.
Got it. Now, one thing that you have noticed is that first off, like during the course of this dinner, everyone was as surprised as you were. Like, and to some extent, even the courtiers that knew a little bit more about what was going on clearly didn't have the full picture, because you could tell what was going on with that. Before he leaves, Montana does stop by to I mean, first off, he says, well, that was ominous.
Yes, it is.
I'll just keep doing what you're doing. I think you're going to be all right.
Yeah, I was sort of like nods a bit. Is Montana the kind of person that likes to just have small talk, or does Silas read like this is like him trying to get? He has like like other motives.
Yeah, you know him probably better than anyone else here, and he comes off as the kind of person that likes to have small talk, but he's always got he's always trying to do something else. In this case, first off, you get the sense that he's when he says just keep doing what you're doing, you'll be all right, he's watching you to see if you believe it when he says that.
Well, I mean, Silas is pretty confident in his skills, so yeah he believes in himself.
Okay. He nods to that and gives you kind of a little punch on the shoulder.
Yeah, Silas will punch back, and, but a bit too hard. Like
yeah. He seems to appreciate that. There's if things actually manage to calm down here, I owe you a drink.
I look forward to it. Silas has not had a sip of alcohol in a very long time.
Everyone's like, "Oh, this is so good." It's just like,
Is it though? I'll take your word for it. And he says, turns out I've got a few days to kind of do my own thing before the boss gets here.
Oh,
Yeah, I'm gonna maybe get one of those boats. See how far I can get.
this feels like he's implying something.
Yep.
Well, perhaps if I have some free time, I just might join you.
You know where to find me. And with that, he gives you a salute as if he's holding a sword, but he has not drawn his sword. and heads out.
All right.
All right. Anyone else? All right. Between now and next time, I do have some things to tell you about. We'll do that on the Discord. I also will have a few questions for you, but well, we're not going to go around the table this time to get this information, but either in a private message to me or just on our group Discord, let me know what kind of stuff you are focusing on for next session. So that way we can get that. And we had a request for a notes document, and I'm going to start that. I'll put it over in Google Docs. It'll be something that everyone can edit, which means you can add stuff about your characters. You can add stuff about things that I forgot, because clearly I'm not remembering everything. So I'll get as much as I can in that, and everyone can go in and add stuff to it, and then we'll have this storehouse of information that we can all go to. And that is it for me. That is it for this session. And thanks again, everybody. That was a lot of fun.
Hey.
Yay! Awesome.
Ooh.
Awesome. Wow. Okay. Yes. No, that was so good. I have many feelings now. But we're gonna go ahead and go around and do our outros. We got a bit of a late start. Thank you for holding on, folks. I very much appreciate it. We're gonna go ahead and do our outros. Feel free to tell folks where they can find you and any final thoughts you have about this session. We are going in reverse order, so we will start with Brian.
Hello again. I'm Brian Cooksey. I'm Becklam on Twitter and various other places. Twitch, although I'm not really. I mean, I have a Twitch account. I'm not really doing any Twitch stuff. Yeah, thanks for watching. Thanks to all of you for playing again. As always, thanks for hanging out a little later than we normally do. Especially Nicky, because what is it for you? Like February now? Is it?
Honestly,
is it?
Yeah.
Is it spring in your time zone yet? Yeah. I mean, again, I just I had a lot of fun. I like the interactions between everybody. I'm glad we finally managed a thing where we got everyone in the same room. That was awesome. And I am just really happy with the way this is shaping up. And that's pretty much it for me. Thank you.
Yay! Excellent. Did you want to say where they can find you?
I'm Becklam on Twitter. I also have a podcast that I think is in the chat right now. It's Armor Goes Clank, and you can search for that. And it's Mark Kinney, a good friend of mine, and I just talking about games.
Excellent. Fun podcast. It's a fun podcast. Let's go, and now we will head over to Nicky.
Hello there, everyone. I'm Nicky. You can find me on Twitter and Twitch as NixNat1, capital N's and the number 1. I don't really post much on Twitter, and I occasionally stream on Twitch. So whenever I do, feel free to check out. I run D&D games for my Malaysian friends. I'm part of a server there, which tries to make D&D as accessible for Malaysian players as possible because it is very gatekeepery. D&D is in my side of the world for some reason, so we're trying to change that. But yeah, that's it for me.
That is awesome.
Cool. I'm sorry, my brain went away for the. Did you get to say any final thoughts about the session, or are you good?
Oh yeah. I'm just glad that we finally get to interact with each other, and we are beginning to see like I'm actually interested in how this goes because it feels like there's a conspiracy happening, and we're seeing pieces of it, but I'm not sure how it connects yet. So I kind of want to see this through to the end.
Me too. Awesome. Okay, and now we are going to be heading over to Janie.
Let's see. Hi, I am Janie Pot 7575 on some social medias that I can't remember what I'm on. But if I'm on it, then that's my name. And I do things I had it mentally in my head, but I was going to tell you. And I'm just, like I said, always say, I'm just going to pretend that I told you that. And I had a lot of fun. Yes.
Sorry, go ahead.
A lot of fun in this session. I did like that we were all finally able to get together. And you know that whoever is opposing us, I think that they were us at level 1 or level 0. And I'm sorry to them, but we're just going to have to figure out a way to, not be, okay, I'm just going to shut up right now.
Oh, no. Oh no, it's we're gonna give them what for.
Yeah, totally.
We'll run for their money.
Yeah.
And take them.
Yeah, that too. Yeah, they'll run for their money and find their vault empty.
Oof.
And finally, we are going to go over to Lynn.
Hey everyone, I'm Lynn. Gremlin art pretty much everywhere. Twitter, Twitch, all the places. It's pretty much Gremlin art, pretty much everywhere. You can find my art there. I stream occasionally on Twitch, and next time you'll be able to see me is on Wandering DM for Scion Birth of New Gods, where we are we're trying to find a doppelganger of one of our party members, and we might not like what we find because it's a big group and my character cannot fight. I don't know what she is doing.
Oh man, love Scion.
Oh, it's so fun. And yeah, it was great to have everybody interact a little bit, and just I love the plotting. The plotting's so much fun. Like everyone's hearing what everyone's like, kind of like bringing, was willing to share with each other, and what their little side inquiries are.
Yeah.
So much fun.
That was very cool. That was really cool. I loved everything about this session. This was very awesome. And so I can't wait to see where things go. But let's see. Who am I? Great question. I am Jim Ryan. You can find me at OtherDoc on Twitch and Twitter and in most other places and a bunch of other social media type things. Anywhere on social media that I'm not OtherDoc, then I am Jim Yes That Jim. My website is jimyesthatjim.com, where you can find my Geek Observation podcast and links to my various other things, podcasts, audio dramas, writings, and what have you. I have links down below to my website, Twitter, YouTube channel, and various other things. This week on Friday, we should be getting back to our Don't Rest Your Head game, our multi-group Don't Rest Your Head game. On Friday, the group is the Outer Vale. They are currently in the necropolis of the Mad City, and there's a lot happening all at once, and so I'm going to be very interested to see how things progress. And then on Monday, we go to the other group, the Inner Circle, the other group in the Don't Rest Your Head game. And they right now have they one of their members just turned into a nightmare. So they're down some people. So they're going to meet some new people. So we're going to have some more folks coming in on Monday, and so I'm very much looking forward to that as well. And then let's see. Yes, and then Wednesday we have more of this, and so very much looking forward to that. Cannot wait to see how things play out. So let's see. When we hit the end card, I'm going to send a raid over to somebody. There are a few people that are doing stuff. PB is playing games, and let's see. Everyone else I was looking at, their stream has ended. So we probably are going either there or to Meji RPG. It looks like they're playing D&D. So we're gonna go see one of those people in a moment, probably. Feel free to hang on if you're so inclined and say hi to them with us. That again will be when we hit the end card. In the meantime, folks, thank you all very much for watching. Do take care, and we will catch you next time. Farewell.